Imagine this. You wake up one morning, the sunlight streaming through your window, the world outside buzzing with its usual rhythm. You stretch, yawn, and begin your day like any other. You choose what to wear, what to eat, what to say to your coworkers. You decide to take a different route to work, to skip the usual coffee, to call an old friend. These choices feel like yours, free, deliberate, and entirely your own. But what if they're not? What if every decision you make, every thought you have, every action you take is not the product of your free will, but the result of forces beyond your control? Now, imagine going further. What if the very idea of free will is an illusion, a comforting story we tell ourselves to make sense of a chaotic, predetermined world? What if your beliefs, your desires, even your sense of self, are not truly yours, but the product of biology, culture, and circumstance? What if the person you think you are is nothing more than a puppet, dancing on strings you cannot see? This is not just a philosophical exercise. It's a confrontation with one of the most unsettling questions humanity has ever faced. Are we truly free, or are we merely actors in a script we didn't write? The implications are staggering. If free will is an illusion, then what does that mean for morality, for justice, for the very essence of what it means to be human? Can we hold people accountable for their actions if those actions were never truly theirs to choose? Consider this paradox. We live in a society that celebrates individuality and autonomy. We are told we can be anything, do anything, achieve anything if only we work hard enough, if only we want it badly enough. And yet, beneath this surface of empowerment lies a darker truth. Our choices are shaped by forces we barely understand. Our upbringing, our genetics, our social conditioning, even the algorithms that curate our digital lives. We are born into a world that has already decided much of who we will become. And yet, we cling to the belief that we are the authors of our own lives. Why does this illusion persist? Why do we resist the idea that our freedom might be limited or even non-existent? Perhaps because the alternative is too terrifying to contemplate. To admit that we are not in control is to confront the abyss, a world without meaning, without purpose, without the comforting narrative of self-determination. And yet, what if this confrontation is exactly what we need? What if the illusion of free will is not a prison, but a doorway, a chance to see ourselves and our world with new eyes? As you sit with these questions, feel the tension they create. Feel the unease, the curiosity, the desire to push deeper. Because this is not just an intellectual puzzle. It's a mirror reflecting back the contradictions and complexities of your own life. And as you stare into that mirror, you begin to sense that something profound is at stake, something that could change everything you thought you knew about yourself and the world around you. But before we go further, let's pause. Let's explore why this illusion exists in the first place. What forces have conspired to make us believe in a freedom we may never truly possess? And what does this belief or lack thereof mean for the way we live, love, and understand ourselves? The answers are not simple, but they are waiting. And they begin with a journey into the hidden roots of the illusion itself. The hidden problem and its psychological or philosophical roots. To understand the illusion of free will, we must first confront the forces that sustain it. These forces are not merely external, they are woven into the fabric of our minds, our societies, and even our biology. They are the invisible architects of our choices, the silent puppeteers pulling the strings of our lives. Let's begin with the mind. Carl Jung, the pioneering psychologist, once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you'll call it fate." What Jung understood and what modern psychology continues to reveal is that much of what we consider free will is actually the product of unconscious processes. Our decisions are influenced by memories we've forgotten, by emotions we can't name, by instincts we don't even recognize. When you choose a partner, a career, or even a meal, how much of that choice is truly yours, and how much is dictated by patterns buried deep in your psyche? Now, consider the role of culture. From the moment we are born, we are immersed in a world of norms, values, and expectations. These forces shape our desires, our beliefs, and our sense of what is possible. Friedrich Nietzsche famously declared, "Morality is the best of all devices for leading mankind by the nose." What he meant is that the rules of society, its moral codes, its social hierarchies, its definitions of success are not neutral. They are tools of control, designed to guide our behavior in ways that serve the status quo. When you strive for a promotion, when you buy a house, when you pursue the perfect life, how much of that striving is truly your own, and how much is the result of cultural conditioning? And then there is biology. Arthur Schopenhauer, the philosopher of pessimism, argued that the will, the driving force behind all human action, is not free, but determined. Man can do what he wills, Schopenhauer wrote, but he cannot will what he wills. In other words, our desires are not chosen. They are given. They arise from our genes, our hormones, our brain chemistry. When you feel hunger, when you fall in love, when you experience fear, how much of that experience is under your control? These forces, the unconscious mind, cultural conditioning, biological determinism, are not separate. They interact in complex ways, creating a web of influence that shapes every aspect of our lives. And yet, we remain largely unaware of their power. Why? Because the illusion of free will is not just a byproduct of these forces. It is a survival mechanism. To believe that we are in control is to maintain a sense of agency, of purpose, of meaning. Without this belief, life would feel chaotic, absurd, even unbearable. But here's the paradox. The very belief that sustains us also limits us. It keeps us trapped in patterns of thought and behavior that we mistake for freedom. It blinds us to the deeper forces that shape our lives, and it prevents us from asking the most important question of all. If free will is an illusion, what does that mean for how we live? As we delve deeper into this question, we begin to see the contours of a hidden problem, one that affects not just individuals, but entire societies. It is a problem rooted in the tension between our need for control and the reality of our limitations. And it is a problem that demands a radical shift in perspective. But before we can explore that shift, we must first confront the consequences of the illusion. How does it shape our personal lives? How does it influence the structures of power and authority in society? And what happens when we begin to see through it? The answers are not easy, but they are essential, because only by understanding the hidden forces that govern us can we begin to imagine a way out. Only by confronting the illusion can we hope to find a deeper, more authentic kind of freedom. And so, we turn now to the unseen consequences, the ways in which the illusion of free will silently shapes our world, often in ways we don't even notice. The ultimate truth, the final, most powerful realization. The ultimate truth is this: the illusion of free will is not a prison, but a mirror. It reflects back to us the complexity of our existence, the interplay of choice and chance, of agency and determinism, of self and society. And in that reflection, we find not despair, but liberation. Here's why. When we let go of the belief that we are entirely in control, we also let go of the burden of perfection. We no longer need to blame ourselves for every failure or credit ourselves for every success. We no longer need to live under the weight of unrealistic expectations or the fear of falling short. Instead, we can embrace our humanity, our flaws, our limitations, our vulnerabilities. We can accept that we are not gods, but human beings, shaped by forces beyond our control, yet capable of profound growth and transformation. This acceptance is not resignation. It is empowerment. It is the recognition that, while we may not control the circumstances of our lives, we do control how we respond to them. Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, captured this truth in his seminal work, Man's Search for Meaning. Between stimulus and response, Frankl wrote, "There is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." This space, this gap between what happens to us and how we respond, is where true freedom resides. It is not the freedom to control everything, but the freedom to choose how we engage with the world. It is the freedom to act with intention, with compassion, with awareness. And it is a freedom that is available to us, even in the face of the most difficult circumstances. But this freedom comes with a responsibility. The responsibility to see clearly, to see the forces that shape us, our biology, our culture, our unconscious minds, and to understand how they influence our choices, to see the ways in which we are complicit in systems of inequality and injustice, and to take action to change them, to see the humanity in others, even when their actions are harmful or destructive. This is the ultimate truth, that freedom is not the absence of constraints, but the ability to see them clearly and to act with intention and awareness. It is the recognition that we are not separate from the forces that shape us, but part of a larger interconnected whole. And it is the acceptance that, while we may not be in control of everything, we have the power to choose how we respond to the world around us. This truth is not easy to live by. It requires courage, humility, and a willingness to confront the uncomfortable realities of our existence. But it is also profoundly liberating. It frees us from the tyranny of perfection, from the illusion of control, from the fear of failure. It allows us to live more authentically, more compassionately, more fully. And so, as we come to the end of this journey, let us sit with this truth. Let us feel its weight, its power, its possibility. Let us ask ourselves, what would it mean to live without the illusion of free will? What would it mean to see ourselves clearly, to act with intention, to embrace our humanity? The answers to these questions are not simple, but they are profound. They challenge us to rethink everything we thought we knew about ourselves and the world. And they invite us to imagine a new kind of freedom, one that is not based on control, but on understanding. Not on separation, but on connection. Not on perfection, but on authenticity. This is the ultimate truth, that the illusion of free will is not a barrier to freedom, but a doorway. And on the other side of that doorway lies a deeper, more profound kind of freedom, one that allows us to live more fully, more authentically, and more compassionately. So, as you step back into the world, carry this truth with you. Let it guide your choices, your actions, your relationships. Let it remind you that, while you may not be in control of everything, you have the power to choose how you respond. And let it inspire you to live with courage, with humility, and with an open heart. Because in the end, this is what it means to be free, not to control the world, but to engage with it fully, authentically, and compassionately. And it is this freedom, this deep, profound, and transformative freedom that awaits you, if only you have the courage to embrace it.